Hey everybody, a few days ago I did a video called Lonely Schizoid Ramblings where I briefly brought up my schizoid personality disorder, but I didn't go too much into it, and I figured I would make a video more in depth, and here it is. We will start with the DSM criteria. Schizoid personality disorder is characterized by four or more of the following, and I highlighted the ones relevant to me personally. Neither desires nor enjoys close relationships, including being part of a family. Almost always chooses solitary activities. Has little, if any, interest in having sexual experiences with another person. Takes pleasure in few, if any, activities. Lacks close friends or confidants other than first-degree relatives. Appears indifferent to the praise or criticism of others, and shows emotional coldness, detachment, or a flattened affectivity. Now, the only criteria that I did not fit was appearing indifferent to the praise or criticism of others. However, other studies show that schizoid individuals experience considerably more psychological pain than acknowledged by the DSM, which instead emphasizes flat affect. Empirically observable features of patients with schizoid personality disorder include not only social isolation and interpersonal peculiarity, but also depression and despondency, interpersonal avoidance motivated by fear of embarrassment or humiliation, anxiety, feelings of inadequacy, and inhibition about pursuing gratification. So, and even the DSM acknowledges in circumstances in which these individuals become at least temporarily comfortable revealing themselves, they may acknowledge having painful feelings particularly related to social interactions. So, schizoid people are often very sensitive, as described in another book, and I'll put the links to all the sources in the description. Schizoid people often feel pain at a level so excruciating as to require their defensive detachment in order to endure it. So, schizoid people try to seem like they're not experiencing pain, try to cover it, but really they do experience it to a great level, and I can totally relate to that. Going to therapy for me was originally and still is extremely uncomfortable. I always tried to make myself seem like I was made of steel. But unfortunately, unlike other schizoid people, which they do manage to put up a front effectively, I will literally run off crying. So, I'm not very good at it. But, yeah, but internally, I'm as uncomfortable expressing these emotions as other schizoid individuals are. From childhood on, people with schizoid personality disorder have few good interpersonal experiences and have the expectation that relationships will be frustrating and disappointing. Early experiences frequently include being subject to bullying, rejection, or abuse. Rather than expose themselves to what they perceive as more negative experiences, they shun socialization and develop private, isolated lives. Males generally don't date or marry and are not predisposed to intimate contact. Females may engage in more social and family activities, but they tend to assume a passive role and allow others to make their social decisions. Both men and women with this disorder have poor social skills and few, if any, friends. I'll read the characteristics that this study found to be most prevalent among people with schizoid personality disorder. You can't see the first two because my computer annoyingly put a black thing over it. but the first two are lacks close friendships and relationships and lacks social skills, tends to be socially awkward or inappropriate, tends to feel like an outcast or outsider, feels as if he or she does not belong, tends to be inhibited or constricted, has difficulty allowing self to acknowledge or express wishes and impulses, tends to be shy or reserved in social situations, appearance or manner seems odd or peculiar, grooming, hygiene, posture, eye contact, speech rhythms, etc. seems somehow strange or off, appears to find little or no pleasure, satisfaction, or enjoyment in life's activities, and tends to be anxious. Something else interesting is that people with schizoid personality disorder are more likely to be underweight, which is obviously the case for me. I am literally 84 pounds at 20 years old. Granted, I'm only 5 feet tall, but that's still underweight. Schizoidism is also associated with creativity and using the internet a lot. It's me. In my other video, I have a couple links that I posted, and here I'll go through them quickly. Schizoid personality disorder is characterized by persistent withdrawal from social relationships and lack of emotional responsiveness in most situations. It is sometimes referred to as a pleasure deficiency because of the seeming inability of the person affected to experience joyful or pleasurable responses to life situations. They have little or no interest in developing close relationships. They appear aloof, introverted, and prefer being alone. Those who know them often label them as shy or loner. They turn inward in an effort to shut out social relationships. It is common for them to avoid groups of people or appear disinterested in social situations even when they involve family. Personally, I'm always, even at family parties, I'm just in the corner, alone, staring at my phone, not talking to anyone. But yeah. They are often perceived by others as socially inept. They often have a dull demeanor and are easily overlooked by others. Their speech is typically slow and monotonous with lethargic demeanor. See, I got that comment a lot on my first few videos. I kept getting comments talking about how my speech is so slow and it seems like I have no energy and whatnot. And that's actually part of the reason I made this channel, is to get practice speaking more normally. And I think right now I'm speaking more normally than I did in the beginning, which is good. It's progress. Because their tendency is to turn inward, they can easily become preoccupied with their own thoughts to the exclusion of what's happening in their environment. Attempts to communicate may drift into tangents or confusing associations. They're also prone to being absent-minded. So true for me. Symptoms of SPD may begin in childhood or adolescence, showing as poor peer relationships, a tendency towards self-isolation, and underachievement in school. I did underachieve in 4th and 5th grade when I received the most amount of bullying and social isolation, but after that I started getting better grades, like A's and B's. Children with these tendencies appear socially out of step with peers and often become the object of malicious teasing, which increases the feelings of isolation and social ineptness they feel, which is the case for me. It was just like that this past year, I finally figured out why I isolate myself so much, is because my brain has learned to associate social relationships with pain and rejection, so it has developed an aversion to it, which is often what happens with schizoid people. A common difficulty in diagnosing it is distinguishing it from autism and Aspergers. Although a lot of schizoid people are diagnosed with Asperger's, and I do fit the criteria for Asperger's. In fact, someone on the Schizoid subreddit ran a tool that examined the subreddits most similar to the Schizoid subreddit, and Asperger's was the first one that came up as most similar. And let's look at the rest. Asperger's, TP, depression, ADHD, psychology, asexuality, sanctioned suicide, social anxiety, sociopath. Hey, I'm not a sociopath, just getting that out of the way, and I bet most of the other schizoids aren't either. Oh look, INFP, I'm an INFP. Suicide watch, schizophrenia, INFJ. Oh, that's INTJ, MBTI, anxiety, BPD, mental health, purple pill debate, which is, wow, that's interesting. I guess more schizoids than I thought are interested in, maybe that's a schizoid characteristic. Maybe it's not just me who's very interested in arguing with people of opposing, like, you know how I always argue with misogynists on the internet. Maybe it's not just me. Oh, I have no idea what nootropics is. Occults, I've been interested in the occult. Buddhism, OCD, which I have, change my view, meditation, bipolar disorder, antinatalism, INFJ, misanthropy. Personally, I don't hate people. I actually have a generally positive view of humanity. Introvert. You see, I'm not sure why introvert came down so low. Short. I'm short. I'm 5 feet. APD, which is avoidant personality disorder, which is very similar, except people with schizoid personality disorder effectively have a suppressed, in general, humans have desire to interact with other people and bond with other people, but with schizoid people, the desire has become so suppressed. But people with avoidant personality disorder, they don't suppress that feeling. They very strongly want to interact with others, but their behavior is very similar to people with schizoid personality disorder, that they isolate themselves because they're so anxious about being rejected. So, in the case of most schizoid people, it's not so much internally, subconsciously, it's fear of rejection, but it's suppressed. So I think having avoidant personality disorder might be a lot more distressing than having schizoid personality disorder, but they both have the same surface effects of causing social isolation. Bipolar Reddit writing, as I showed before, people with schizoid personality disorder are often very creative. Personally, this is one of the only things I'm good at. One of the only things compensating for all my other deficiencies. I got very superior in my, in terms of writing abilities, in my testing, so that's good. Ask philosophy, ask feminists, sleep, fMRA debates, which is another debating. Incels? No, get that away from me! Actually, I honestly think if I were male, with all my deficiencies, with my awkwardness, short size, small size, weakness, physical stupidity, I think that I probably would, and if I was a man, I probably would have a higher sex drive than I do, which right now it's pretty much non-existent. And honestly, for me, it's not that I actually have a non-existent sex drive. For me, just like the desire to socialize, it's suppressed. And with men, it seems men aren't as able to suppress that sex drive. They may generally be better at suppressing their emotions, but they're not as good at suppressing their sex drive. And there's evidence for this. Studies show that, there are different types of attachment styles, and one of these attachment styles is avoidant, which is basically, studies show that we're not attracted to men if either they or their male partners were avoidantly attached. Whereas this isn't the case for men. Attachment style had no effect, it was just attractiveness of the woman. So, if I was a man, I probably would have a non-suppressed sex drive. And as a woman, I do have people that would want to date me and be in relationships with me, but it's my own brain suppressing that. Whereas if I was a man, I probably would desire sexual relationships, but I wouldn't be able to get them because I'm so short, weak, shy, awkward, physical ineptness, all that. I probably would not be able to get a girlfriend. I probably would want to. Maybe not so much as a normal male, but to some extent. So I think I would be involuntarily celibate. I just hope to God I wouldn't be like incels, like the men who call themselves involuntarily celibates and post very awful things about women on their subreddit. Bisexual. I'm bisexual. I mean, like, I have attraction to both men and women. I think women are more attractive physically. The male body kind of grosses me out. I have had crushes all on people who are completely unattainable, which I think is, of course, that subconscious defensive mechanism. Falling in love with people who I know I could never have because of that internal fear of, being in a relationship and ending up hurt. And I've had crushes, very intense crushes on both men and women. Insomnia. I used to have really bad insomnia. I would literally take hours to fall asleep. It was only when I got on a medication, it was for my bipolar disorder. I got on a medication that would knock you out 30 minutes after you took it. So that cured my insomnia, even after Hey, stop it. Even after I stopped, taking it, I still had, my insomnia was still better, which was good. Get disciplined. Ooh, that's good. We're trying to discipline ourselves. See, that's kind of what I'm trying to do. How to not give a fuck. Egalitarianism. I see the blue pill, which is it mocks the red pill and basically the misogyny of it. So I think, that's really interesting. See, maybe it's not just me. Maybe a lot of schizoid people debate people of opposing views about gender online. And I think, for me personally, I think it's to get my social fix, because everyone has, even for schizoid people, it's suppressed, but everyone has a desire for socialization, so that's why I spend a lot of my time arguing with misogynists. It's a way to get my social fix while also not accidentally bonding with anyone, because I'm pretty much very opposed to a lot of these misogynists on the internet. Maybe it's not just me, maybe it's a common thing among schizoids. I didn't know that. So that was a very interesting look about the subreddits most similar to the schizoid subreddit. Do some more reading on schizoid people. Individuals with schizoid personalities range from relatively high functioning to deeply disturbed. They're highly sensitive and reactive to interpersonal stimulation, in which they tend to respond with defensive withdrawal. They easily feel in danger of being engulfed, enmeshed, controlled, intruded upon, and traumatized. Dangers they associate with becoming involved with other people. Rejection and self-definition. They may appear notably detached, attending more to their inner world than to their surrounding world of human beings. Some withdraw physically into hermit-like reclusiveness, others retreat in more psychological ways to the fantasy life in their minds. Yeah, schizoids in general have an attraction to fantasy, which other books have described as, because when you're in fantasy, nothing can really hurt you. And I think that's why, as this other book says, it correlates with higher playing of video games, which I love Sims. If anyone wants to donate somehow so I can do Twitch videos of me playing Sims, I would appreciate that, but I don't really know how to set that up to get donations. I would do Twitch videos and stuff, so that would be appreciated, but so yeah, like I said, a lot of schizoid people have an attraction to fantasy, which makes sense, because some of the only things I enjoy are fantasy video games like Sims, or sometimes watching movies. So they may communicate their concerns most intimately and comfortably via metaphor and emotionally meaningful references to literature, music, and the arts. I love music. I love certain music artists. I'll give some examples. I love certain songs that really relate to me, and they make me feel like less of a freak. Melanie Martinez has a lot of those. Marina and the Diamonds, Halsey. Eminem actually has a lot. I do not approve of a lot of his other songs, but he has some songs like Legacy, Gets Over Fear, Beautiful Pain, which really help normalize and express the feelings of someone who's a loner and trying to find empowerment in that. So I appreciate that. And also literature and movies, I appreciate when they help express the emotions and experience of a loner. For example, I'm very obsessed with the movie Carrie, and it's actually through watching Carrie videos that I've found a lot of music that I can relate to. So there's that. So contributing constitutional maturational patterns: highly sensitive, shy, easily overstimulated, fear of closeness, longing for closeness, emotional pain when overstimulated, effects so powerful, they feel they must suppress them. Feeling that love is dangerous, the social world is unpinging and dangerously engulfing, and ways of defending withdrawal, and into fantasy. Schizoid people may feel a deep yearning for closeness and have elaborate fantasies about emotional and sexual intimacy, the latter of which I think would be more common among men who have more difficulty suppressing sexual desires. And I think with women, it's probably more likely to have women are probably more likely to have difficulty suppressing emotions. That's just and of course there are exceptions to everything, but that's just my perspective and personally what I experience. But contrary to appearances, clinical experience doesn't support the notion that some schizoid people are completely content in their isolation. In psychotherapy, even extreme withdrawn schizoid individuals have eventually revealed a longing for intimacy. So, yeah, see, that's exactly how you get people like me who genuinely don't want friends, but I want to want friends and have that pleasure that most people have. And that's how you get people like me making videos almost crying about it. But I'd like to debunk a common argument that that schizoid is just introversion. That is objectively false. Roughly half of the population is introverted, but only 3% of people meet criteria for schizoid personality disorder. All schizoid people are introverted, but schizoid personality disorder is a very intense version of it that gets to the point where it very negatively impacts your life. In fact, studies show that it results in a significantly impaired quality of life, smaller GAF scores even after 15 years, and GAF is the Global Assessment of Functioning, and the lowest levels of life success of all personality disorders. And that's because humans are, if you don't have any social bonds, how can you expect people to help you, have connections with you and whatnot? If you have social bonds, getting help from people and all of that is a lot easier. People with schizoid personality disorder have a lot higher rates of homelessness. And this is because no one will take them in and help them out when they're in need, because I mean, how can you really expect people to do that for you if you don't have bonds with anyone? For that reason, social isolation shortens lifespan. So schizoid personality disorder has a very negative impact on life because humans are social creatures and humans need each other. So it's not just introversion, it's not just a preference. It's very unhealthy, and it very negatively impacts the lives of people who have it. So, anyway, I hope I educated people about schizoid personality disorder in this video, because it's a very poorly known disorder, and I didn't know about it until I was diagnosed last month. And I really think that if there's more awareness, more people could get treatment for it and whatnot. And I'll do other videos from the research I find about how to deal with it and whatnot, partially for my own reference and well-being, but also for those of others who might have it. But yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.